This is just a quick video. I'd like to point out some of the problems with the Directgov website. The reason I want to do this is to raise awareness about people who think that signing on is easy. Also, perhaps other claimants have dealt with similar issues, so just spreading awareness. This video is not intended to slander any individual or anything like that, so that's my disclaimer. I'm not talking about any individual. I'm not blaming any individual person. I'm just talking about this website, okay? So basically, if you're signing on at the job centre in the UK, they put you through this sort of system. I spoke a bit about this before, so I'm going to try and get to the point with this video. One of the obligations about signing on and claiming welfare is to sign up with the website directgovjobs.com. Now, I've had quite a lot of problems with this website, and it's been frustrating because basically their logic is you need to prove that you're looking for work. In other words, in order to justify the financial support that you're getting. I've no problem with that. I understand the principle, and I've no problem with it. It's fair enough. What I do have a problem with is that they're putting you in an unwinnable position, because the website has some serious flaws, and I'll talk about those in a minute. But the problem is, if you because of these flaws, it's difficult to put a lot of information there, or it's difficult to use, so therefore the claimant will be penalised. Now, I'm going in tomorrow for my fortnightly meeting, and no doubt they'll say, oh, why have you not applied for jobs, why is this section empty, etc, etc. And I'm really not looking forward to the meeting, because I know it's going to be awkward, and I'm going to have to sit there and explain, well, this is why. So I'll just speak a little bit about some of the problems that I think the website has. Firstly, it's sort of like you fill in a profile about, for example, what work experience you have, what some of your basic details, date of birth, that sort of thing, and then keywords. I'm an English teacher, so I've typed in that sort of industry, teaching, etc. Now, what they'll do is they'll have a series of jobs that are being advertised through their website, and you can either save them, apply for them, or reject them if you've got a valid reason for doing so, i.e. if you don't have the experience or it requires a driving license or something. On the website they have something called activity history. The purpose of that is to basically write notes, keep a sort of diary about what you're doing to try and find work. And initially I didn't use this, because when I put in the information it did not look like it was being saved. It's only when I came back later I realised, well, actually that had been saved. So there's a couple of days where I have no information, and that's going to look like I haven't been doing anything, which isn't the case. So I'm a bit frustrated by that, because the website does not make that clear. Another thing is they didn't accept my CV at first. In fact, they didn't. I had to actually go to the section where it says to cut and paste your CV, because it wouldn't accept the format. Now, I think that's ridiculous. If you have a government website that's being used by potentially hundreds of thousands of people, I think they really need to improve it so that any type of CV can be used there. Because people are unemployed, you're asking them to fill in information to prove that they're looking for work, but you're putting up barriers, and it just seems unfair to me, because I feel I'm going to be penalised for something that is not my fault, i.e. a website that isn't up to date. It's not my fault they won't accept the CV format. So what I had to do is then go to the option of cutting and pasting that, and I wasn't aware that was an option. Perhaps that was my fault. Perhaps I should have looked a bit harder at that. But I still think I shouldn't have had to do that. I think it should accept any CV format. Because that caused me a lot of anxiety. I thought, well, why the hell isn't it not accepting my CV? There's another problem. A lot of the jobs that are advertised, for example, particularly in the teaching industry, are not necessarily online applications. They're things like you need to send someone an email, or phone a certain number, that sort of thing, in order to continue the application process. Now, if that's the case, then the Directgov website somehow takes that to mean that you haven't applied for something. I mean, on my profile here, I'm going back tomorrow after 2 weeks on my application history it says you have not applied for jobs, and that's just factually not true. I have applied for jobs, but there's no way on that website to show that, because it's not like they send you an application physically and you can just show it. I've done what the job application requests me to do, which is send an email. So I'm frustrated by that, because no doubt they're going to take that to mean I haven't been fulfilling my obligations, and I have. So it's, they don't take on board that sort of thing. So I've had to, on the activity history, I've had to basically explain that. I've had to say, please note, for the English Teaching Centre, there is no online application. So I've done what the application requests to do. And you would think they would look this up and sort of make it more flexible to allow for that sort of thing. So I'm quite peeved off. Maybe I'm thinking ahead. Maybe the advisor will be understanding, but I don't know. I don't know who I'm going to deal with tomorrow. And it may well be that it'll be, frankly, a job's worth who will just look at that and not listen to what I'm saying. Now, to be fair, that's not everyone at the job centre. There are people there who have common sense, and they agree that the website needs to be improved. But that's just, I'm frustrated because the way it looks is that I haven't been doing anything. And there's another problem that at the initial meeting they say, oh, you can show ways that you're applying for jobs, i.e. applications. But that's ridiculous, because most jobs nowadays, the application is online. There's very few places nowadays that actually give you a physical application to write out. And those that do are not looking for, they don't have any vacancies at the moment. So, for claimants, it is actually very difficult to prove that you are trying to find work, other than writing the information down. Now, I'm sure there are people out there who do nothing and they'll maybe make things up. But for people like me, I am doing something, and I'm trying to show them that I'm doing something. But the website is designed in such a way that you can't. All you can do is write down the notes and hope that they'll take your word for it, because you know it's the truth. So, yeah. There may be other people out there who have experienced that. So it's just, I mean, some of these things are ridiculous. It says, for example, you have saved 1 of 5 possible CVs. Well, I can understand 2 CVs, because you might have a CV catering for your specific field. In my case, it's teaching, and then a CV for more generic things like part-time work in a supermarket, whatever. So I can understand 2 CVs, but to putting unrealistic obligations there that would not be expected of people who, basically they say you're a customer, but it's much more like an interrogation, and I do feel like I'm being constantly sort of spied on. That's how I feel about it. And I appreciate if I'm claiming financial support, I have obligations. I have no problem with that. I just think they need to make it more user friendly and actually listen to claimants, rather than sort of well, I don't like it. I feel like I'm being spoken down to and criminalised. I'm not saying the individual advisors are like that. I've dealt with very reasonable people who are just doing their job, but the system is definitely designed that way. It's definitely designed to be to blackmail you, to threaten you, to interrogate you. Basically, you will do everything we say, otherwise we'll cut off the money, even if what they're asking you to do is just not realistic. So I'm not saying the website's awful. I'm not saying everything's bad about it. I don't want to exaggerate. Some of it's fine, but there is a lot of things on that website, if you're familiar with it, that really need to improve, because they're just not user friendly. And it's a claimant that gets penalised for it. So I think that's unfair. Let me know if you've had a similar experience. Okay, thank you.